What's up everyone, Midnight Strike here, and today we're going to delve right back into the ACDC discography to pick up where we left off with their second studio release, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, with the traditional pink lettering right here that would never be used again, actually. This is the most simplistic logo they have on any of their releases. So, released in 1976, this has 9 songs on it, same as High Voltage, the International Edition, as well as, I believe, the Australian Edition, not exactly sure, but as well as having a different cover. It has a few variations in song listing, in the track list, which I'll go over. This is the cover for the Australian edition, and this cover actually describes the album a little bit better than the traditional international version, which is more well known outside of Australia. But in my opinion, this is more of a stereotypical hard rock pub-oriented or bar band album. Something that you could, put a quarter in back in the 70s and you could hear the music playing from a jukebox, such as, there's gonna be some rockin' at the show tonight, or ain't no fun waiting around to be a millionaire, those kind of things. It's a little bit different from AC/DC because AC/DC, what they normally do is, they have that spark of originality by using the same simplistic riffs, but in different sequence, I suppose. But they like to think outside the box, they are simplistic, but in this album it just seems like they're repeating the same riff in each song, with the exception of a few: Problem Child, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, Big Balls, and of course, Ride On, I believe, and Rocker. Well, Rocker kind of repeats the same riff over and over again, but those are the songs that really kind of stand out on this album. I'm just going to get this out of the way, AC/DC's second studio album, Dirty Deeds, is my least favorite album in the Bon Scott era. Yeah, that's right, don't shoot me, guys. Don't shoot me until I actually explain why. Now, this is a good album. Let me just get that clear before anyone asks anything more. This is a great album, in fact. It's a very good album, but it just doesn't have what it takes to beat the likes of, say, Powerage or High Voltage, or even compete with Let There Be Rock. I mean, this is kind of a one-trick pony for AC/DC. This kind of puts them from up here, where they were with High Voltage, down to the stereotypical bar band. I mean, I could see them playing this at the bar. That doesn't necessarily make it bad, but then again, it doesn't necessarily make it so that they're thinking outside the box either, or bring anything new into the fold. That's really my main gripe with this album. It's a good album, but it doesn't necessarily bring anything new for AC/DC. They use some of the same riffs that they used in, say, Can I Sit Next to You Girl? The main riff from the verse is used in Rocker, it's used in There's Gonna Be Some Rockin', it's used in Ain't No Fun Waiting Around to Be a Millionaire, and it's used in Love at First Feel. So that's a lot of songs right there that use the same centric riff. Now, they would actually go on to write maybe a few more songs with this riff, but they would do it a lot better than they did here. But I digress. I'm going to get into a track listing, a track-by-track review, as well as saying there are some songs on this album that would appear on other albums, other releases, because of songs that were excluded. But then again, let's just stick to this one. 74 Jailbreak, or Jailbreak as many people know. 74 Jailbreak is an EP that would be released in 1984, and the reason why I bring this up is because a lot of the songs were originally on this album, such as Jailbreak, I believe Soul Stripper was, Baby Please Don't Go, no, that was on High Voltage, but a few of the songs on that album were actually supposed to be in this album, but they kind of switched it up a little bit, added in a few new songs, and called it a day for the international release, which is what I'm actually reviewing now. So basically, it's going to start off either way with Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. And now this is a mid-tempo song, not too fast, not too slow, but it is definitely heavy. It's one of the heavier songs that AC/DC has in their catalog. It's very good. One of my favorite songs by AC/DC, just overall in their entire catalog. Now, this may seem strange to you, as I just got done saying that this album was a little bit on the unoriginal side, not too much, but just a little bit, but this is, in fact, one of the best songs in their repertoire, as well as on this album, if not the best. So, I really like the beginning. The intro riff is just legendary. You know how to play it on my guitar. It's very simple, but it sounds very good. It sounds great. In fact, this is one of the songs that I really couldn't hear in a bar, I suppose, so it does break the norm of this album a little bit, per se, but not too much to the point where it sounds like it could be on a different album. This is, in fact, trademark ACDC sound right here. So, basically, to go into further, it is about a contract killer who is advertising his services to the world. Basically, if you want someone gone, if you want someone dead, he can take care of them for you for a small fee. So it's a very dangerous kind of, sounding, edgy sounding song, especially with the heavy riff thrown in there. So I really like this one, like one of my favorite songs in here. Then we get into Love at First Feel, which is a stark contrast to the above song. This one, like I said, I like the intro a little bit, much like I like the intro on Dirty Deeds, but I like the intro on Love at First Feel as well. It sounds very interesting. It sounds a little older, but then it gets into the riff that was used on Can I Sit Next to You Girl, which is used on like 4 songs on this entire album. So it just basically repeats itself throughout the verses and then repeats the intro in the chorus. So it's basically just a repetitive song. I mean, I like it. I like listening to it, but it's a little bit on the repetitive song, or sounding. Bon Scott's vocals on this one, in fact, are actually pretty good as well. I'm not really going to bash the guy's vocals, especially on this song. He does sound very bluesy as well, and the backing vocals on this song, as well as on Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, the title track, are very good. They sound just right where they're actually implemented, and kudos to ACDC for being able to make something like that. So, Big Balls, the next song, is a very bluesy song. It's very slow, and it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, much like the Jack was on High Voltage. Bon Scott is just frickin' blackout drunk, practically, singing about how big his balls are, but then again, balls as in ballroom, get it? It's just one of those funny things. I thought it was funny when I was a kid, but, it's still kind of funny, fun to listen to, even now. I mean, it's not necessarily, like, laugh out loud funny for us older folks, but it is fun to remember, just sit back, listen to it, and remember what you thought of it back then, so when you first listened to it. So it's a very good song. Like I said, Bon Scott sings in his bluesy tone while he is very, very shit-faced, but it is a good song nonetheless. The next song is Rocker, and this is basically repeating the Can I Sit Next to You Girl riff over and over again, but very fast. And for some reason, they can't play this up to speed live. I mean, they play Problem Child like 10 times its normal speed, but they play Rocker slower than it should be, which is very odd. But then again, it is AC/DC. They choose what they want to do, and that's just that. No one can really bash them for it. It's a good song. Bon Scott keeps up the pace perfectly well, or perfectly, however you want to say it. And Angus Young has some pretty good riffs in this one as well, as he's, copying the Can I Sit Next to You Girl riff, but he throws in a few extra stuff in there as well. It's very diverse when it comes down to, like, maybe the midsection of it as well. I don't know. It's just a good song overall. He adds in a few solos in there too. Problem Child is the next one, and this is the song that I was talking about where it appears on future albums, and it just sounds very out of place on those albums. That, of course, being on Let There Be Rock. It comes up on Let There Be Rock for some reason. It's a shorter version. It doesn't necessarily repeat itself at the end, so it's a very short version. I have no idea why they even put it in there, to be honest. So, on this song, though, on this album, it's a very good song. One of the best songs on this album, per se. And the riff, the intro riff that kind of repeats itself all throughout the song, is just one of the top classic riffs for AC/DC for me. The singing, everything from the singing to the riff to just being this awesome guitar-driven song is what makes this song one of the best songs on the album. The next one, Ride On, this one is a very slow, bluesy, kind of softer, melodic song with Bon Scott talking about how he wants to change himself, and this one was actually used as a tribute to Bon Scott in his, in Bonfire. I was going to say his funeral, but that wouldn't be the case. They have tried to kind of shy away from playing this with Brian Johnson in later years. I believe they played it once in '96, but other than that, they really haven't played it much at all in terms of, respecting Bon's legacy, as this is the one song that Brian just didn't want to play, but he did it once, and it was actually pretty moving. It was pretty touching, and it was more of a tribute to Bon Scott while playing it, too. So I think it was like the 16 years since he had died or something like that, but it was a very good song nonetheless. Squealer, however, just completely throws that out of the water. It completely contrasts everything that, Ride On had kind of strived for a little bit. It's a sexually related song, basically, and I don't know why they chose to end with this song. It should have been maybe towards the beginning. I like the intro, but other than that, it is a very repetitive song. Not necessarily my least favorite on the album, per se. That would probably go to Ain't No Fun, Waiting Around to Be a Millionaire, which I actually forgot to talk about with There's Gonna Be Some Rockin'. So we're gonna go backwards a little bit after I explain Squealer. So I like the intro, but that's about it. Other than that, it's kind of repetitive, and it's about Bon Scott talking about his sex life, I suppose. So There's Gonna Be Some Rockin' is right after Problem Child. This one, again, uses the Can I Sit Next to You Girl riff that I said, but a little bit slower and in a different way. This is probably the most bar-oriented song on the album, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I actually do really like this song. Everything is incorporated from blues to hard rock to everything that really ACDC stands for or stood for back in the day. Ain't No Fun Waiting Around to Be a Millionaire, I forgot to talk about this one too. It's my least favorite song on the album. It basically uses that same riff, but repeats itself, and it's AC/DC's longest studio album song that they have ever recorded. At almost 7 minutes, so 6 minutes and 57 seconds. This is the longest song they've ever recorded, in the studio, of course, excluding all their live tracks. So, basically, it's kind of boring. That's really all I have to say. I mean, the singing sounds a little bit more monotone. Of course, it's a little bit more on the bluesy side, bluesy sounding, more guitar-driven as well, but it's just kind of boring to me. I don't know why, or I don't know what I don't like about it other than that. It just doesn't really appeal to me pretty much at all. So, with that, I'm probably going to rate Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap a, probably 7.5 out of 10. I mean, I really do like it for the songs that are on there, like, Dirty Deeds, but other than that, I mean, it's okay, I suppose. So, with that, this is Midnight Strike 3625. Keep calm and rock on.